congratulations on this work. Are you anticipating that all of the housing you call for, given the funding is moved ahead, will be built by public agencies? Because as you know, those of us who've been working on waterfront have gone to great lengths to make sure that the standards on waterfront were way higher than the official plan. And the problem is, even the standards of the official plan are being appealed by the development industry. So do you see the only possibility in being the public agency building this housing, or do you think there's any way the development industry can somehow be legislated or persuaded or however dragged on site to give a percentage of their site to affordable housing?
That's Julie Beddoes. She's very active on waterfront issues and housing issues in particular, and the question was, of course, around some of the particular mechanisms. This report doesn't go into a lot of detail about mechanisms in particular. Obviously, there needs to be long-term affordability guarantees for anyone that, any developer that accepts the money, and of course the best guarantee that a project that gets funding will remain affordable over time is that it remains as a co-op or a non-profit housing project. The history of Toronto, the Spruce Court project I mentioned, built in 1913 and converted back in Harvey was the 1980s that it was converted to a co-op? Mid-70s. 75, there you go. See, Harvey knows almost everything about co-ops. Also about Tim Hortons too, but that's another issue. It is critical, and we think in terms of, we said there's 25% set aside for Aboriginal housing. As you know, there are non-profit Aboriginal housing providers. Those of you that have been reading the papers in the last couple of days will have seen Frances Sanderson, who's been quoted extensively, and she worked with us to develop the notion of the Aboriginal set-aside for non-profit Aboriginal housing under Aboriginal control. So I think that's a key component. What we think, though, is that money can actually help kickstart a sector that was really gutted back in the 90s when the senior levels of government withdrew. So we've now got some money coming back in. We can kickstart and build back up the development capacity of the not-for-profit sector.